What is happening in Bangladesh? Because another incident has now surfaced about targeted attacks. This is Dora Bazar, Upazila of the Sunamganj district. Tensions have spread over an alleged comment that was made on a social media post by a Hindu man, Akash Das. Now, what has happened in this case is that following some social media post, a comment that was made by a Hindu young man, radical extremists gathered and went to the accused's house to lodge a violent protest. Several houses in this village have been vandalized, looted, attacked. Locals have said many women and children of the Hindu community have fled to the nearby paddy fields and areas due to fear. Armed forces had to reach late last night. Now remember, if the army has been called in, the kind of atmosphere there must be. These are the visuals that are coming in from a Hindu village in Bangladesh, where simply on a social media post by a young Hindu man, the whole village was vandalized by radical extremists. And these radical Islamists have gone on rampage and loot of the village where the army has now been called in. And remember, the information is very filtered from what is coming in from Bangladesh. So it's difficult to often get into further details. So what we are bringing to you is also very significant. Many Hindu shops, we are told, in Sunamganj were looted, houses were vandalized. And our sources on the ground who've been speaking to the local Hindu residents have revealed that over 100 Hindu houses have been vandalized and temples also have been targeted. And these are all visual evidence that we are putting out for you. And remember that while some authorities in Bangladesh are saying all of this is media exaggeration, these are just isolated incidents, nothing is being done against the minorities. But the fact is, one by one, increasing incidents, not just arrest of a monk leader, but more arrests, targeting temples, Hindu community clearly stating that they are in fear, that they are being deliberately harassed and targeted, reveals there's a pattern. And why is the Yunus government not doing much about it? So remember in August when the Awami League government led by Sheikh Hasina was brought down by what seemed like a revolution by a students' movement, turning into clearly anti-minority incidents. So let's stay on with visuals and let me help you understand what these visuals are looking like. You can clearly see these are shops in a Hindu village that have been targeted. And remember, this was over a social media post that the radical Islamists were not happy with. And the mob reached this village and targeted not just the accused, or accused if I may add in terms of what the radical Islamists believe, but a young Hindu boy, not only damaged and ransacked his house, but the whole village. More and more houses, as you can see, the impact of what must have unfolded. This is 2nd December, we are told, night, and Mongla village in Upazila. This is the Sunamganj district. The visuals speaking for itself. We are told that there are several women and children from the Hindu community who've rushed to the nearest paddy fields and other areas due to fear. Army eventually had to reach. The situation is still tense. But remember that for the longest time in Bangladesh, it was predominantly a Bengali identity, a Bangla identity. And now you can clearly see over the past few months for sure that there's been this rise of radical Islamist ideology that's taking over. What is the Yunus government, who's seen as a liberal face, as a revolutionary face, who cares for the poor, is doing for the minorities? All right, more and more visuals emerging. We'll try and get more clarity if this is from that same village and area. Eventually, army and senior police had to be called. But look at the mob violence on the ground. This is absolutely concerning. And just imagine for a minute when a less than 8% Hindu minority is dealing with a mob of this nature. I'm joined by Ashutosh Mishra because Ashutosh has been closely tracking what's unfolding in Bangladesh. He's also reported from there. Ashutosh, so another attack. Anyone who says this is just an isolated incident, should not be looked beyond what it is clearly trying to downplay the targeted attacks at Hindus.
Absolutely. And what I also noticed, now the violence is also spreading in. So earlier it was in Khulna, it was in Chittagong. But now what we see, the way it is, spreading out in Sunamganj, in Sylhet, all these areas. So yesterday, and very interestingly, what I have noticed, that how there is a modus operandi work by the fundamentalists. So they spread some rumor. There have been photoshopped Facebook posts. There are altered Facebook posts using AI and others where they blame a local minority community member. So here the accusation comes on a local minority member that he made certain posts, Akash Das, who's the son of Prafulla Das in this area, in Sunamganj. And overnight, the fundamentalists literally carried out violence, arsenal. They burned down many of these houses, destroyed a local temple there. There was also photos of the property and the shops were destroyed, looted. So all because they believed there was a post against the community and all that. While the police and the army were reached very late night, the violence took place. Hundreds of these villagers were literally forced to flee. They left literally to the West Cape area in the paddy field to save their lives. And the way we have seen the army and police leading literally at a very late night responding to the violence, by then it was almost over. And many of these Hindus have literally disappeared. They have left that area, anticipating a possible violence under the nose of the administration, police and the army, Pooja.
Ashutosh, as we stay on with these visuals, these are concerning incidents. Remember, however, Hindu minority also has come out in protest in the past few months. While they are in fear and they have this concern, they've also spoken up for themselves, for their communities, and they have said they are not going anywhere. They're not leaving this country and they're not going to flee. They will decide to fight back and stay. But you can look at the tensions prevailing. What concerns me, Ashutosh, as you continue to bring us more updates from Bangladesh and different areas, that this was supposed to be a liberal, revolutionary government, tolerance for all, that was supposed to have brought down what they said was a dictatorship of Sheikh Hasina. Instead, what we see, a complete chaos and targeting minorities.
Well, if I would say there is an interim government, but there is literally no governance in Bangladesh. The interim government and clearly the way we are seeing the functioning of the police and the administration, there's a fear even amongst the policemen. And remember, this is all because the policemen were fired during the August so-called revolution. So there is a still fear. So whenever these fundamentalists, and remember hundreds of the fundamentalists who were even from the banned group, they were banned. They were literally relieved from the jail. These people, the fundamentalists, literally raided certain jails and released all those prisoners. So kind of this situation, when they're having a free walk, the government literally goes for a toss. There is no virtually existence of police and army. While they claim the law and order situation, remember the Hindus who have been carrying out protests, there is not even administrative support even allowed them to raise their voices. Whenever they remember what happened with the lawyers of Chinmay Das. One case happened virtually yesterday. There was no lawyer to represent Chinmay Das. Whenever they hold a protest, they are attacked. And that has happened either in Dhaka or even in Chittagong. So Hindus have no right at the moment to raise their voices. If at all they carry certain protests, they are threatened. And in fact, there have been from the Jamaat-e-Islami, from Hifazat-e-Islam and certain other radical elements who have issued open threat, do not come out on the street, do not raise your voices. Because if that happens, then eventually they will be attacked. And that's exactly why we say there was no lawyer turned up to appear for Chinmay Das. There is no protest happening at these days because they know the moment they hit the street, probably they will not see the next morning.